The beginning of the journey. Once upon a time, in a green meadow surrounded by tall oak trees, lived a little snail named Silo. Silo was not like the other snails. While most snails love to stay close to the damp shade of the grass and hide under leaves, Silo was always curious about what lay beyond the meadow. One bright morning after the rain, the meadow glistened with dewdrops. The grass sparkled like tiny crystals, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Silo peeked out of his shell, stretched his tiny feelers, and whispered to himself, "Today I will explore. Today I will go further than I ever have before." His heart was small, but it was full of courage. The shortcut as Silo began his journey, he met a group of ants marching quickly in a line. "Where are you going, Silo?" asked one of the ants. "I want to see the big pond at the other side of the meadow," Silo replied. "I've never been there before." The ants giggled. "If you want to reach quickly, there's a shortcut through the dark tunnel under the fallen log. But be careful, it's damp, and you might get stuck." Silo thanked the ants, but as he reached the entrance of the tunnel, he stopped. The tunnel was narrow and filled with shadows. It looked quick, but it also looked unfriendly. He turned his eyes toward the long path that wound gently around the meadow. It was longer, but sunlight bathed the flowers along the way, and the breeze carried the songs of birds. "I will take the long way," Silo whispered. "Even if it's slower, it feels kinder." And so he turned away from the shortcut. The meadow of colors as Silo followed the winding path, he entered a wide meadow filled with wildflowers. There were golden buttercups, purple violets, and bright red poppies swaying in the breeze. He inched slowly along the ground, but every few steps he paused to look. He noticed how the petals of a daisy curled perfectly toward the sun. He watched a ladybug climbing a stem, its tiny body glistening. If he had rushed, he might never have seen them. A butterfly landed nearby and flapped its wings gently. "You move so slowly, little snail. Don't you get tired?" asked the butterfly. Silo smiled softly. "I may be slow, but that gives me time to see the beauty around me." The butterfly thought about this for a moment. Then, with a graceful swirl, it said, "Maybe your way is the better way." The forest edge. After hours of quiet travel, Silo reached the edge of the forest. The trees were tall, their branches stretching high into the sky. The leaves whispered secrets to one another in the breeze. Here, Silo found a family of rabbits nibbling clover. The youngest rabbit, with ears too big for his head, bounded over. "Where are you going, little snail?" the rabbit asked. "To see the big pond," Silo replied. The rabbit tilted his head. He could have gone through the shortcut. He'd be there already. Silo shook his shell slowly. The shortcut didn't feel right. "I'd rather take my time and see what the long way brings." The rabbit smiled and nodded. "You are wise. The forest is full of wonders. Maybe they are waiting just for you." The stream of surprises not far into the forest, Silo heard the sound of trickling water. He followed it and soon found a clear stream dancing over smooth stones. The water sparkled like silver under the sunlight. At the stream's edge, Silo saw a frog sitting sadly on a rock. "What's wrong, Mr. Frog?" Silo asked. "My little tadpole is stuck on the other side of the stream," croaked the frog. "The water is too strong for him to cross." Silo looked at the stream, thought for a long time. Then he said, "Maybe we can help." He found a wide leaf nearby, pushed it gently into the water, and guided it toward the tadpole. The leaf floated like a little boat. The tadpole climbed on, and with the frog's help, they pulled it safely across. "Oh, thank you, Snail," said the tadpole. "You saved me." The frog smiled, his eyes shining. "You may be small, and you may be slow, but today you did something very big." Silo felt warmth fill his heart. If he had taken the shortcut, he would never have met them. The evening sky, as the sun began to set, the forest grew golden. Long shadows stretched across the ground, and fireflies began to twinkle in the air. Silo climbed onto a soft patch of moss to rest. Above him, the sky turned pink, then orange, then purple. He watched quietly, feeling the cool air against his shell. All around, the forest whispered, with life owls hooted in the distance, crickets sang, and the leaves rustled like lullabies. "I am slow," Silo thought, "but because of that, I get to see the world change. Every step brings a new gift." The big pond at last, after a long journey, Silo reached the big pond. It was larger and more beautiful than he ever imagined. The water reflected the stars above like a mirror, and lilies floated gently on the surface. Other animals gathered there, two ducks swam, frogs leaped, and fireflies glowed like lanterns. Silo felt his heart swell with happiness. He had finally reached his destination. But more than that, he had discovered something even greater. The journey itself had been the true treasure. He had seen flowers, helped friends, and watched the sky change colors. The lesson as Silo gazed at the shining pond, he whispered softly, "Sometimes the long way is the better way. For when we move slowly, we see more, learn more, and love more." And with that thought, Silo curled happily into his shell, listening to the gentle rippling of the pond until he drifted into dreams. Moral: sometimes slow is better. When we take our time, we notice beauty, create memories, and discover kindness along the way.